As an entrepreneur in the city, I'm always looking for workshops, programs, any type of organizations that are supporting other entrepreneurs. And I think I found the real gem, Propeller. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them a few times.
Propeller is a incubator that is dedicated to the growth and success of entrepreneurs and small businesses here in New Orleans. Their main focus is helping provide them access to capital, business development. They also have a co-working space, just great around ecosystem to help build businesses here.
Yeah, that sounds like great stuff that we need more of.
Yeah. And so I'm excited because today we're going to specifically talk about their Accelerator Growth Program.
Yeah, that program I think has been going on for a while, right?
Yeah, it's been going on for a few years, but they've made some changes, so I don't want to get too into it. We'll bring out Eric, the Director of Entrepreneurship, and Damian, their Strategic Project Manager, to talk more about the program.
Awesome. Excited to have them in and hear what they have to say. Let's get into it.
Missions by
Hello, how are y'all doing today?
Doing all right. How are y'all doing?
great.
Doing good. So the Accelerator Program has been around for a while, but you guys have recently made some changes this year, right?
Sure did.
Can you tell me what those changes are and why you guys made those?
Absolutely. So Propeller, we're a nonprofit organization. We grow and support entrepreneurs to tackle social and environmental disparities. The organization started around 2009 or so. We had our first Impact Accelerator Program back in 2011, and it's gone through a number of iterations since then. What we're really excited about is this year we're going to be splitting this program into a startup track and a growth track. So we've been working with entrepreneurs in community economic development, education, food, health, and water for quite a number of years. And it's been amazing to be able to get all these different types of organizations with these different focuses in the same room working on kind of similar issues. But it's also a challenge to be able to come up with the right content, the right supports that's going to be exactly what each one of these businesses and organizations needs at the right time, you know? So I think we, through discussions, kind of figured out that, we'd be better off, better positioned to be able to serve the full range of entrepreneurs that come through our programming if we're able to kind of differentiate a little bit more. So for this year, we have a growth accelerator for kind of a little bit more mature organizations, over $75,000 in annual revenue. And then we still have room for our startup organizations as well.
Yeah, gotcha. And what kind of, qualifications, requirements, things like that do people need to have to join in on the programs?
Yeah, so for the growth versus the startup track, as I mentioned before, we're looking for a little bit more established. At the growth stage, you're generally over $75,000 in annual revenue. Usually have at least one full-time team member. And then we're also looking, for businesses that are ready to scale. We are looking to create an industry here in New Orleans that is responsive to actual needs that we have as New Orleanians here. So, if you're working in those areas of community economic development, early childhood education, Damian does some fantastic work with our consumer packaged good brands. We work in health to address health disparities. And then, of course, water with all of these stormwater issues that I think we all feel.
We got water down here.
We got quite a lot of water that needs to be managed.
We got water.
I'm just drinking some water right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, we try to work on both the urban stormwater management aspect of things as well as coastal restoration as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Can we dive a little deeper? Because I think you said there's 4 different types of businesses.
Yeah, so it's 4 different focus areas that we do work with. That's community economic development, early childhood education, food, which is mainly the consumer packaged goods space, which we've sort of transitioned over the years as well due to COVID. And we also have the health focus as well.
What's the health focus entail? So anyone that's like a startup that's around healthcare of some sort?
Yeah, so health is probably our widest category out of all of these. So it's anybody who's providing, direct healthcare services. We're trying to improve access to healthcare. So we help a lot of, general practitioners, family care doctors kind of navigate how to take Medicaid, how to take all these other insurances and things like that to kind of bolster their businesses. And then we also support organizations that are, anybody who's impacting the physical and social determinants of health. which, as you can imagine, is like almost everything. So that has ranged from everything to, mental health services, to physical fitness and activity, to affordable housing. All of those different things have kind of fallen under the health umbrella for our work.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised, like the type of health businesses that we do get, having that range so wide and varied, that we get a lot of interesting businesses in the health space.
I bet I definitely didn't think that's where we were going. And I used to work in healthcare. I worked in private practice for a few years, and trying to sign up for any payer, the worst thing ever. So thank you for taking that on.
Absolutely.
It just helps to
Making
kind of
small
sit down with somebody who's gone through it, knows the ropes a little bit, and can just, help streamline that whole thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. And then I guess going into it a little bit, I guess I'll sneak in there, and then you can sneak in after.
Sneak.
So with this program, what are you guys looking to kind of achieve? Now that you've made this split, I guess what are kind of your hopes for how this program is going to operate and impact the community?
Yeah, we tend to, for the growth stage, we tend to work with between 12 to 15 growth stage businesses who are actually, already has scaled, and they're looking to sort of plan long term for their businesses. And for the startup stage, we usually work with 10 to so businesses. And a lot of those businesses are like in the idea stage. So they're freshly starting off. They probably don't have a business plan yet. They're still looking to get into marketing and see what that is for their businesses. So what we come in and do is we provide them with those resources. So we provide strategy sessions for a lot of those smaller businesses, and even for the growth stage businesses. Like in the area that I work in with food and CPG, we try to get their call sheets down. We try to help them with distribution and like local retailers in the New Orleans area. So that's always fun. We actually just completed a festival vendor workshop for those who actually don't want to go into retail, but they actually want to, get into the festival landscape and make their money that way. So we try to provide a variety of ranges for those businesses, and we try to meet them where they are. So that's always the fun part about it. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I'll just add to that, we have a number of kind of metrics that we're looking for, across the cohorts. We're laser focused on growing revenues, growing staff and your team, and getting you access to capital to grow your business. But with that said, this is a very entrepreneur-driven program.
Yeah.
If you are an entrepreneur in this program, you are in the driver's seat, and we help you through that goal-setting process. So we really try to make sure that the entrepreneur is the one who's kind of driving that process of understanding where we're going. At the beginning of the program, we sit down with a scoping session. We ask 1,000,001 questions about your business just to unpack everything. It's
we really get to know each other then.
Absolutely.
It's a marathon, hour-and-a-half session, but it's really an opportunity for us to make sure that we're all working with the same information, so that when we get into that goal-setting process, we can set really firm one-year goals, and then we can start to work backwards from there. What are the milestones that you need to hit during the 3 or 4 months that we have together to make sure that you're going to be on track for those long-term goals.
And I think one important piece that we do try to instill into our entrepreneurs is that they're working on their business and not in their business. That's a key component to our Tuesday night meetups, to where we try to get these entrepreneurs to think long-term about their business and succession planning and exit planning, because, essentially you don't want to be in the business for a long. Some people do, but a lot of these entrepreneurs want to pass those businesses down to have legacy businesses, which is known in New Orleans, right? So we try to help them succession plan a lot for their businesses. So
that's a great point, Damian. I think an analogy I think about all the time is, as entrepreneurs, you're trying to run your business and grow your business at the same time, which is basically like having to change your bike tire while still riding the bike. So we envision our programs as an opportunity for entrepreneurs to be able to come in, almost like a NASCAR pit stop, be able to hop off real quick. We can change that bike tire, get you set up to really where you're trying to go.
Wow, that's awesome. And when you say we, who is the we? Is it is it just Propeller staff? Are you bringing on other people, partners?
Yeah, so it's so when you're in a program, you get the Propeller staff, but you also have lead mentors who are experts within that industry as well, and we also provide subject matter experts who are versed in marketing. They're versed in accounting. I work a lot in access to capital, so it's a lot of loan packaging and lenders that we meet with these businesses. So there's a lot of resources around the accelerator, to where we make a real community for the businesses. And I think a lot of our alumni will be able to let you know, like, hey, this is the accelerator where, it felt like a community. It felt like family during our Tuesday night meetup. So we provide them with a lot of resources to, get them where they're going.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that, New Orleans sometimes is the biggest little small town in the world.
Sure is.
And who people do business with those that they have relationships with, right? So we try to put a real focus on connecting the entrepreneurs to each other while they're in the program itself. But we also have an executive mentorship program, which is really, as we're going through this program, we sit down with our entrepreneurs and just say, who do you need to be connected with that you haven't been able to make that connection with? Can we go ahead and try to make that connection for you and cultivate that so that, you have the contacts, you have the network to be able to execute on all the big dreams and plans that we develop in this program.
Yeah. And that executive mentor piece is very critical for our entrepreneurs because it's really experts within New Orleans area, and there's national experts that we bring on board as well. Like just specifically the food businesses, we work with Target to get executive mentor meetings with their foragers of their stores, right? To give them the opportunity to tell those food businesses like what's needed to go into national retail. So we try to foster those relationships and those partnerships with those national retail chains. So we're giving, a value added product for those entrepreneurs as well as the learning portion.
Cool. I love it.
Do you have a food business that has gotten into stores locally we can shout out, or a success story you want to share?
Absolutely. I think everybody knows this business. We have Vacreson sausage right there on St. Bernard. Vince is a staple in the New Orleans community, and we work a lot with him. He did a lot of his lead mentor meetings with Target to, talk about the marketing and the packaging of that. So, and I think everybody knows Vacreson at the Jazz Fest, so that's
Who's
one of
number one.
Exactly. So that's been one of the businesses we could tout.
Wow. And excuse me. Hold up. Let me get some more of that Louisiana water. What about you, Eric? Is there any body in your, that comes to your mind as far as like success stories?
There's so many.
It's a lot of them.
You can't pick one favorite child.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I've worked at Propeller for 9 years or so. We've worked with, I think, over 300 businesses in our Impact Accelerator Program. So it is kind of like picking a favorite child to some degree. I will say, I think what has been encouraging for me is being able to see a lot of progress within water management. That's kind of my wheelhouse. That's my sweet spot. I'm a big water nerd. So we've been able to work with a few different green infrastructure firms who are really making strides in being able to create businesses, like I was talking about earlier, that are actually responsive to the acute needs that we have as New Orleans. Like, we all deal with these floods, right? It is something that causes stress and annoyance and pain for all of us. So we want to really be building these industries that are addressing those problems directly, creating good jobs in the process as well. So we've had a few alumni in that area that we've seen make really big strides. And I think what's also encouraging to me is just like the level of collaboration. When we talk about business, so often we default to thinking about competition, right? But actually, in my experience, what I've found working at Propeller is that collaboration actually is the one that helps you go a lot further, especially in a place like New Orleans that's so community driven.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I used to suffer with like everyone was competition for my business, and it's like, no, we can all, there's plenty of people that want to all buy our product or service, and so we can help each other find each other's actual market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what's so crazy about that is that it's a tourist town, so there's always something going on. So you're never lacking the business piece.
Yes.
In this city. So it's like, whether that's Super Bowl or French Quarter Fest, a lot of these avenues to sell your products is available. So.
And I think the other thing I would note is, this collaboration piece. Our program has entrepreneurs in community economic development, early childhood education, consumer packaged goods, health, water management. You would think that these might not have a lot to do with each other, but you'd be surprised at the different collaborations that you see going through that. So, I have seen childcare facility owners, speaking with folks who work in climate to talk about how do I set up my yard to be best for the kids that I watch and help raise and teach, right? Where do I plant the right tree? What tree should I plant? Where should I put it? How do I set my yard up to make sure it's not flooding and that it's staying accessible? I've seen, a bread company bartering bread for an herb garden from one of our landscapers,
Nice.
right? So
There we go.
I think for me, it's, when we're able to come together and be greater than the sum of our parts, you start to see some really cool things happen.
Yeah, wow. Now, if only they could bring some water down from the Northeast down here, because those bagels, man, I don't know. They're up there, they do something.
They are
that's
good.
Just, but I love it. Yeah, I think that's just so important is just seeing, I think people just disregard that aspect of just collaboration because there's so many ways and avenues that you can work with each other. So I love that.
sure.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Well, should we ask the next question that is on our list? Well, let me ask you guys. What are some of the learning moments throughout? I mean, you mentioned that this program's been going on for a while now, and definitely there's been some different changes, I'm sure, that have, right now you just made a big change, but what are some of the bigger learning moments that you've had through this program in adapting this program and updating it and developing it?
I would say for me, it's been the community aspect for the entrepreneurs. I mean, entrepreneurship can be so lonely for the entrepreneurs. So you often forget that there are other people in this industry that are doing the same things, right? So I think this cohort model and the accelerator itself brings that focus into forefront, right? You're able to collaborate with a lot of entrepreneurs who have been through the same things that you've been through, and y'all are able to sort of talk through those pain points and come to a solution. So that has been I think one of the invaluable things about the accelerator is that you're able to build community with other folks within the community as well and gain those partnerships. So it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Damian hit the nail on the head. I didn't realize until I worked at Propeller just how lonely entrepreneurship can be. You're kind of oftentimes out working on an island kind of by yourself. You might not have peers that you can go to talk about the challenges, the day-to-day. We know entrepreneurship is a really, really tough job, right? So being able to craft that space where people are able to kind of come together, make connections with one another, and that peer learning piece, I think, is so important to this as well. Like I think of often about how do I remove myself as a bottleneck for the learning. There's so much knowledge that comes through the door with all of our entrepreneurs that even being able to get people into the same space and just talking with one another about what's working for me, what's not working, all that sort of stuff, it goes a really, really long way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like you kind of developing as well. As an entrepreneur, you kind of feel you have to prove yourself in some way before people can listen to you. But then at the same time, you're looking for someone to help you and listen to you to figure out your problems at the same time. So it's kind of like you're in this weird catch-22, when you're first starting out.
Yep.
Yeah. When you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're first starting out, and you're trying to go and make new partnerships, new connections, make a sale here and there, everything is so high stakes. First impressions are everything. Am I going to land this contact, this contract, whatever it may be? So we really just try to develop and cultivate a space where you can safely test out your assumptions on those sorts of things.
Awesome. Yeah.
So my question for you guys is, how can entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs support you guys in this program?
You want to take that one?
I'll take that one. So for entrepreneurs, call us.
Call me.
Or walk in the door.
Yes, or you can walk in the door.
The famous words of Collie Ray Jepsen.
Walk in the door.
Yes, 4035 Washington Avenue. So we have a variety of programming in addition to what we've talked about today with our Impact Accelerator. We provide support on procurement, going after large contract opportunities, access to capital. Damian's got some great food programs. We have some early childhood education program. So we got a whole lot going on. So first, give us a call, go to our website, reach out to one of us on the team. We'd love to connect. If you're an entrepreneur that's maybe a bit more established, maybe you've kind of quote unquote made it to some degree and you're looking to kind of share some of your knowledge that you've gained over the years, we have a variety of mentorship opportunities. So everything from like lead mentors for our accelerator program to those executive mentors that I talked about earlier. If you are an entrepreneur who is a service provider, whether, in our Impact Accelerator Program, we work with subject matter experts to connect them with entrepreneurs. Everything from accounting and finance, design, websites, tax preparation, legal support, all of those sorts of things. So we kind of have a group of professionals that are kind of on call, so to speak, to jump in as these projects come up. So we are always looking to collaborate with more and more people, especially in our subject matter expert network.
Absolutely.
And then if you're not an entrepreneur or maybe not a service provider or anything like that, I think my development team would love for me to mention that we take donations. You can go to our website. Right. You can donate to Propeller. And you can also go to our website and look at our alumni. We've worked with, I think, over 300 alumni in our Impact Accelerator programs over the last decade plus. So go out and buy local. We have a lot of really amazing businesses. Damian shouted out some earlier. You'll see them at the festivals around town as we get into festival season here for the spring. So check out our website, look at our alumni, and buy, please.
I was at Propeller last week and I was checking out the wall of, there's a lot of people, a lot of familiar faces and businesses on there.
And I think the biggest misconception about our programming is there a cost associated with it? It's completely free to the entrepreneur. You could be an entrepreneur who just has an idea and you're looking to open up something. We can help you with those strategy sessions and help you build your business.
I love it.
Yep. And that wall you're talking about is always what makes me remember how small New Orleans can be, because every time I walk by that wall, there's somebody standing at it, scanning it, pointing out this face, that face.
I remember that.
Exactly.
That's my neighbor.
I just saw them in the grocery aisle.
And encourage people to get into entrepreneurship, believe it or not. I mean, when people see that wall and all those folks that are on the wall who have jumped into the entrepreneur journey, it gives them a sense of security and want to do entrepreneurship as well. So
that's awesome.
At this point, I would bet most New Orleanians could walk into that space, look at that wall, and point out somebody that they recognize.
Family member,
That's awesome.
Could be the ultimate game of Guess Who.
It would.
Wow. Although don't tear down the photos that you don't know. Keep them up. Absolutely. Somebody else might know. Awesome. Since we're on the topic, what are your guys' if you had all of us, we'll go around.
Okay.
What is the number one invention or item that you have that's changed your life?
Ooh.
First thing that comes to your mind. We'll have that little pause for like. Everybody's thinking.
I'll go first.
Oh, you know.
A multi-cooker. Like the Instapot, but like the ones that have 8-in-1. I love to make rice in it, saute, slow cook, pressure,
it's all the cooks.
All the cooks.
Man, you be cooking. Watch out.
My brain went to the same place, but even lower tech.
A microwave.
An old innovation from quite a long time ago that has stood the test of time, my Magnalite pot.
Oh.
Well, I'll make my gumbo, my jambalaya, all of that stuff. Like, you asked me what was the one thing that I still go back to and will stand the test of time for the rest of my life, pass on to my kids and their grandkids, because this was my grandmother's Magnalite.
Yeah.
It's the Magnalite pot.
Wow. What are the odds? What are the odds? I think we're all, we're all going into
cooking?
food and bread. I mean, because I was, I will say I have had many different coffee implements, but while the AeroPress is the best coffee I've ever had, the one that's definitely changed my life in the sense of just like coffee in general is I got an espresso, and it's just like that quality.
That's the good
the
stuff.
Nespresso. because it's like there's like
the little pods?
but it's espresso pods. And like, you know, even though I know the AeroPress is better, I mean, sure, an espresso machine is even better. But I mean, come on, you know, who's gonna drop that kind of dough on coffee? But it's like, but the Nespresso is just so convenient. You just pop it in, give it a little shot.
So nice.
Use my reverse osmosis water filter. You know, shout out to the water people out there, Water Collaborative. You know, it is just amazing. Just it tells you how intense you want it, what flavor you want it, all those different things. All these pods have different, you know, settings. So it's just like,
I think mine is very cliche, to be honest, but I can't do anything without my iPhone. I mean, I could literally
shout out to Tim Cook.
But everything I have, I can store it on my iPhone, and I really don't need anything else past that, right? So I can look at news articles, I can look at videos, I could talk to people. I don't know how people managed in the early 90s without cell phones now that we're having. So mine's always going to be my iPhone.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Good old-fashioned iPhone.
Good old-fashioned iPhone.
Keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple.
Cute. iPhone doesn't keep it simple, but you do.
Yeah, there's always small specs about it that changes, and it's like
We gotta copyright that.
Copyright. Yeah.
iPhone doesn't keep it simple, but you do.
But
yeah,
you
I like
do.
that.
Oh.
Yeah. Someone's gonna want that
Stone
hook.
phrase right there.
On that.
Stone phrase. You heard it here first, folks. It's going live. You can see her on Instagram, TikTok, all the
Oh my
socials.
God.
Speaking of which, what's your website? Where do people find you?
www.gopropeller.org.
Go Propeller.
And I believe it would be facebook.com/gopropeller as well.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. And you can find us on Instagram.
Instagram too.
Yep.
Gotcha.
All right.
Love it. Go Gadget Propeller.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming in,
having us.
guys.
This was cool.
Thanks for listening to Missions by You, powered by Comfy Stone. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know your thoughts and who you'd like to hear from next. We'll see y'all next time.